We're in. Look at that. Look at us. I got a fake background. I'm going to ask you about your guitar someday, but not today because we're going to talk lathes, right?
Okay, absolutely. Looking forward to talking lathes.
Yeah, we got the.
I feel like we should start these off like doing the whole Brady Bunch thing, where
Yeah.
you, like look up.
I was thinking about Hollywood Squares actually. Like, somebody says, how does that work? You say like the answer, so like.
Yeah.
And then somebody goes ding, 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 and their square lights up, and then.
Yeah, I think.
And
Go ahead, Mike.
I was going to say it's like giant tic-tac-toe with celebrities.
Yeah, I was watching your tree video, Mike. I saw it was amazing. So it's I've watched a bunch of your videos in Dayton. I watched your video on finding that lathe.
Oh.
And yeah, just in general in lathes. I mean, we talk about them all, but I would avoid a 6mm lathe. And the older ones, you just can't get stuff for them. And the 8mm are great. And the Shoreline lathes, the Shoreline company in the U.S. makes all different sizes of lathes. And they make chucks. They make a chuck, an adapter chuck, and a faceplate, like a 4-jaw chuck and a 3-jaw chuck to grab watch faces and stuff. And they have an adapter that fits into an 8mm lathe. I bought one of those a couple of years back, like probably 10 years ago, but it fit absolutely perfect into my lathe, and it's Shoreline, so it's super easy.
So that's does Shoreline make Watchmakers lathes? Because we've seen, Mike and I were comparing these CNC lathes that they make.
I don't think they're Watchmakers lathes, only because the lathes we use have cone bearings, and the cone bearing is like 0.0001 accuracy millimeters. So
yeah, I was gonna say the runout's a little different on the Shoreline.
Yeah, you need that.
Okay, so that means it's better or it's worse? I don't understand. They don't boldly say.
Shoreline's worse. The Shoreline lathes.
Okay.
They're made for machining.
But the 8mm chucks are the same. That's what you're saying?
Well, they have an adapter, is what I'm saying. So they have a Shoreline. I bought, I think, the
plate is Shoreline. The adapter is 8mm.
Yeah. Watchmaking. So you could do it. And there he is, Sonny.
Hey, it's Sonny.
You gotta
hang on.
You gotta turn your phone sideways there, Sonny.
I know, it's still messing with me.
What a crew!
Okay, hang on.
What a crew! Look at that.
That was. I've been trying to get this thing to go, and I was being unsuccessful.
Holy jeez, Sonny Morehouse. Holy jeez, in person.
Hey, Sonny, nice meeting you.
Howdy. Good evening.
We got.
Hey, good to see you, Sonny.
Yeah.
I'm sorry I'm late. I wasn't trying. Technology, you can ask my wife. Me and technology.
Well,
if it's not 130 years old, we don't get along.
Well, you got a beer in front of you or behind you there, so that's yeah.
I do.
Now that'll calm you down when you're using you're trying to make balance staff, say, with your Watchmakers lathe. That beer will.
No. You don't. Alcohol and watchmaking, they do not mix.
Isopropyl.
Yeah, isopropyl. Yeah.
Because you can't have any impairment when you're doing watch work. Good enough ain't good enough, man.
Yeah. And you're down. Where are you living now? You're down southern states or?
Louisville, Kentucky.
Kentucky. My God.
Yeah, this is Sierra Nevada.
Yep.
And this is from Chico, where I used to live in California.
Yeah, you're quite a craftsman. You do pretty much everything, and the comments you've made in my video are very useful, by the way. So.
Well, I appreciate it. I'm nobody. I'm learning.
You're learning fast.
I'm just a sponge, and I've always when I set my mind to something,
yeah,
I have a good retention.
Yeah, well, you're good anyway. So it's good to have you here. Good to have you in person.
Look, I've learned a lot of what I'm doing from you, from your video.
Yeah, it was accidental. And a few things. First of all, I think, like a correction from last week, I think Chris is the guy who recommended doing this, not me, right? And I think, Mike, you thanked me for starting this. I think Chris is the first guy who called me and said we should do something together. So got to give him credit for that, okay? I don't need credit. I'm too old to need credit.
Well, you get credit for the execution.
No, it's okay. No, I don't need the credit. So, and I'm still amazed. I told my wife about Chris's videos, and I watched another one the other day. The production quality is amazing. Like, it's just what you do there.
Thanks.
and the dialogue and everything else you add to it. Like somebody wrote, it should be a documentary, and you do superb work. And I think you've only been doing it for 2 years or something, right? And
Yeah, August 2022 is my first video. It was all silent for a while. I was a little self-conscious about the voice.
But watchmaking for how long?
A little bit before that, yeah.
So that's nuts.
Been into it,
yeah. Yeah, that's nuts. You've gone from 0 to 100% in a couple of years, which is amazing, right? It's taken me years to do what I do, and I'm not even good yet, so I'm still working on it. So.
Hey, join the club.
It's yeah.
I wouldn't call myself good. I'm still learning to try.
It's a journey of love, right? So today we were gonna talk lathes, right? And I think Mike was interested in buying a good lathe, and Dayton was at somewhere in Switzerland, a watch or a jewelry show or a watch show. Dayton, maybe you could explain what you found in this show.
So I was at a watch fair in Zurich today, and I had just bought 8mm lathe kind of complete last week online in Switzerland, but I haven't received it yet. And then I told Mike about that, and we started talking about how you make decisions about buying. And then I saw at the trade show. I saw a 6mm Bowley that looked really nice, so I made a very short video about it to send to Mike. But the thing is, Sonny, do you have a lathe or? The thing about this is I think it's gonna be hard for viewers to take it in if they don't see any images.
Yeah, we're gonna grab our cameras and point at lathe.
I got one right here.
Okay, cool.
I've got way. I'd have to dig it out.
So this is an 8mm Bowley.
Yeah.
It came with several attachments. You've seen these in the videos, but I had to buy you have to thank JD for this one, because I had to buy this counter shaft on the advice of JD and increasing the torque, because this is just a jeweler's lathe motor. So you don't get that good power speed control at the low speeds without the counter shaft. But otherwise, you get the tip over tool rest. A lot of these you can find in still really good condition. I added the cutting board.
Yeah.
But otherwise it's great. I do have to give a shout out to a gentleman named Randy who saw the last video.
You got some.
And I was complaining how I don't have bench keys. And he said, I got a set I'll just send you. So thanks, Randy. Since this is kind of a thing, I also don't have a vertical slide with a milling attachment. And I also don't have a topping rounding up tool. So anyone?
Yeah, you're sneaky, man. I want a milling attachment as well. So that's a nice kit. You got, what is it? What's the brand?
Chucks here.
Rudolph.
Rudolph Flume. So
yeah,
I don't really fully understand the history of Flume. Maybe someone can fill us in the comments, but it's a Bowley kit. But Rudolph Flume, I think, made kind of operationalized the lathes a little bit and kind of kitized them. Maybe added some motors. Yeah. You could look them up on. There's a very good website like lathes.co.uk, and you can actually look up any of the lathes that you're interested in and see what kind of attachments you can get and what kind of configurations they might have come in. And I think Rudolph Flume was one of the major companies that did that. So, but again, I'm not really 100% on that, so don't take me at my word there. So.
Yeah,
I did a little bit of research about Flume, German company, guy from like 1840 or something, several generations. Maybe not exactly, but there's a lot of history there. Yeah.
Yeah, Sonny, you got yourself a multi bench key thingamajobby.
Valuable. A lot of things you find, you go in and you look at watch parts lots.
Yeah.
And tool lots, and you'll buy a whole lot, and you find what I learned is that I learned a lot just by buying the lots. I didn't even know what the tools were, and I bought them, and I was able to look through my catalogs and vintage books And then I found the tools I just bought and realized, hey, I wish I had that, and now I do.
Are those the bench keys, like the winding keys, or are those the sleeve adjusters?
No, these are the bench keys right here. You turn it around, and it's got a bench key for Waltham, Elgin, pretty much everything.
Yeah, it's got all sizes in there. That's pretty good. It's a combo tool.
It kind of looks like this guy, which is the sleeve adjuster tool.
Yeah, that's the sleeve adjuster. Yeah, I got a few of those. I think I got one of every tool.
Yeah.
And how many lathes you got, JD? 13?
Yeah, 13.
I've got 5.
I got 13.
You got 5 lathes?
I'm storing 3 of them right now.
Well, you need one for every day of the week.
He's as bad as I am.
The thing is, they're all different, and I've got a 6 millimeter lathe I'm working on, and it came with all kinds of the collets and whatnot. And so the 6 millimeter lathe came with so much tooling, and I've been reading a lot about people talking about using the 6 millimeter lathes for doing the finer work. It's like we're not already doing fine work as it is.
Yeah, no kidding.
Yeah, if you could find the attachments for them, I think they're a little harder to find attachments for the 6.
They are. The 6 millimeter lathe is a little harder to find things for. It's not like the 8 millimeter lathes where, they're dime a dozen. But it fascinated me, and it was another one of those things where it was a watch parts or a tool lot, and it was a question of take it all, and I took it all. I wasn't looking for a 6 millimeter lathe or all the other ones, but it was an opportunity. You find that when you have opportunities to get things, you just go ahead and do it.
Yeah, you only live once. Only live once. And then you tell your wife it was necessary, right?
They need to have a Watchmakers Anonymous.
Oh yeah, we all hold hands and talk to each other about why we bought them. This is the
I
Bowley.
thought that's what this group chat is.
We're having a chapter meeting right now.
This is a Bowley lathe here that I have. So it's an 8 millimeter lathe bed. I got the camera inverted, but I don't want to screw with it right now. But so that's a sewing machine motor in the back. And just
I'm going to set my lathe up. Mine is a Shoreline powered lathe.
Oh yeah.
The Shoreline motor. I think you saw my video where I added reverse.
Yeah.
Switch to
Yeah.
the Shoreline.
Yeah.
I'll tell you right now, that Shoreline motor is a monster. I mean, I can literally use my parting tool and just push, and it just cuts.
And you got that belted to a normal watchmaking lathe with counter shafts and everything. So it's the motor that's the one that's giving you it, right?
The motor is amazing. It's completely dead smooth.
Yeah.
And the power delivery is incredible.
Yeah, I got some old motors, Sonny, that old watchmaker motors. I got probably about 4 or 5 of them that aren't on anything right now. They're very nice, and I'm not sure what I was going to do with them because I just love the the control I have over this. So
yeah.
And I got basically I got a foot pedal down below my desk that I use, right? And I got it all attached to the cable so I can spin the crap out of this thing, right? And this here is very nice. So this is a collet holding tailstock.
Got one.
And it's got a micrometer on the end of it, right?
I don't have that.
So you can basically determine how deep you need to go when you're pressing in. So you can
shown that already?
What's that?
Have you shown that already?
I don't think so.
Yeah.
No.
Hey, I've watched a lot of your videos, and that's the first time I've seen that.
No, I've used it. I have used it a lot, but I don't usually show it. I kind of show the arse end of the lathe or the front end. This is the arse end.
So JD, let me ask. Give me an example of something that you would use that micrometer on the end to do. That would be more difficult, or you couldn't do if you didn't have it.
Well, so first of all, if you're going to, let's say, for example,
drilling holes.
Well, yeah, that's one thing. Drilling holes. Yeah, you're right. Repivoting. So if I want to repivot a staff, I can put something in there and repivot it. Although I have I have a total other setup for repivoting now. So it's another lathe that I have
Dude, show it.
that I use. I gotta go down on my ass and get it after. I'll get it in a few minutes, okay?
That's cool.
So JD, talk me into why I should get one of those, because I keep getting outbid on eBay, and they go for ridiculous amounts. But I've always repivoted just by hand holding a drill, and I've been fine.
Yeah.
And my understanding is unless the collet holding tailstock was made with the actual lathe, even if it's 0.01 millimeters off the center, it's never going to be good enough for repivoting. You're going to snap the bits. So like, is that really the case, or?
I think, well, this one here, I think I bought this with the lathe. So I don't know whether it was part of it, but it didn't come with any other tailstock. So I think I bought this with the lathe. So it might be perfectly centered, right? Because of that. And I know that, like somebody said in a few seconds ago, for drilling. So I'll take one of those. I've got these drill bits that I have. Let me just grab them here. These are kind of made in China drill bits. I get them from AliExpress, right? And
you can get them on Amazon too.
Yeah, they're really cheap.
Sizes.
You can get 10. You can get a pack of them for like $2 from China. So I don't go on. Yeah, I go on AliExpress. I don't bother going on Amazon for these because they're really cheap on AliExpress. So, and I buy all different sizes of these things, and then I take what I do with this. So I can hold the camera here, but what I do is I take the. Ow! I just poked my finger. what I do is I remove this pink thing, right? I actually remove the pink thing, and then I take this the base of this here, and I turn it like into an M3 taper. I taper it, and if I taper it, I can stick it into a different tailstock to help for drilling holes. If I don't taper it, I just stuck my finger again. If I don't taper it, I can stick it in this, right? And I don't have to worry about it. So I just find my 50 millimeter collet, which I think is the one that works for this, and it just works perfect. So it's good for drilling holes, excellent. And you can drill them like you can drill them to a depth, right? So if you're actually, I know I made a video a long time ago where I was trying to take the fourth wheel with a second hand, and I made a cap for it, right? And
I remember that one.
Do you remember that?
Intense.
Yeah, I didn't know what the hell to do because I knew I wanted to keep the wheel, and I needed to have a pivot. So what the hell am I going to do? So I said I'll make a hat for it. So I actually fashioned a hat and made the pivot on the top of the hat. Well, to drill that hole had to be the perfect depth, right? Because it was going to sit on top of the knobby that was left from the wheel, right? And there wasn't a lot of room, so tons of measurement, and I was able to drill the perfect hole, flip it around, and then finish the pivot. Right, so the
taper is a good idea because, I mean, at least I think most of the lathes will come with a tailstock that has like a center like this.
Yeah.
You kind of yank that out.
Yeah.
You put the tapered runner in.
Yeah.
And then you know you're dead nuts if you can get that taper perfect on the end of that shank.
Well,
then you know you're dead center.
You talked last time about having a lathe for dirty work, right? So I do have a lathe that I use for that, and I'll put that shaft. I don't try not to poke my finger again with this. 2 times. I'll take that shaft and I'll go down and I'll use a file, right? An actual file, and I'll spin the hell out of this with the lathe, and I'll get the perfect taper with that, right? So there's no issue. And then I kind of know now what type taper I need that'll fit in a normal shaft, not a collet holding shaft, but a normal shaft. And then I use that. But I'll have to get my other rig for drilling holes because you'll like what I got there.
So you turn the bit around and then you're using a file to kind of put the right taper in. You're kind of test fitting and trial and error.
Yeah. I use a file. I taper the crap out of it. I leave it a little rough, right? Because it's nice for grabbing. So I leave it a little bit rough, and then then it works perfect, and that's for drilling holes. And like I said last week, I think I got the Clock Making Society up here in Ottawa comes to me all the time with what are they, those clocks there, the carriage clocks. They've got those carriage clocks. I got a really nice one myself. I think I made a video on it, but I got a carriage clock, and on the top they've got that escapement right on the top.
Platform escape.
Bang on, Sonny.
Yeah, I love it's really a giant pocket watch balance cock.
Yeah.
I love them. Yeah.
Yeah, and I've done a few holes for people. Have come because they've had that sideways gear that the platform escapement has, and that one tends to break pivots, I guess. And so I've repivoted those quite a few times. Probably done 7 or 8 of those. And I got another guy that's asking me if I can repivot some more, and I was like, yeah, I was busy, but I guess I can do it now. So one last thing here, I cheated on this one, Chris. This is the only one I have with a plastic belt.
I see that.
Yeah.
I like the
And this belt here, I can't remember where the hell I got this one, but anyway.
The smooth rubber ones are just so grippy.
Yeah, I don't have a problem putting them together. It's really not a problem. I even got, I don't know if you've seen, I've been working on powering the little tiny Jayco tool
Yeah.
for doing the pivot
Yep.
drilling.
Yep.
And I got the eighth inch belt for it. And it wasn't a problem. It was a little fiddly, but once I did it, I love it. But, you know, with something like that, the little leather belt, I don't see how that would work. But I do dig the whole stitched together leather belt, the look of it.
Yeah, it's actually nice and quiet too. I mean, Chris was talking last time about he kind of gave up on my leather belt routine, and I said, well, I have, well, this is, like I said, I'm cheating, but I'll likely replace this one at some point in time. But I just love them, and this is the cross slides, Mike. This is what you need to get yourself a set. They'll cost you around $500, but they're worth it for really detailed work. I think if you're going to make a screw or something, you need a cross slide to do that, right?
So,
Yeah, but that's like a single axis that you can rotate it, or is it double axis?
Yeah, I got to put my camera down for a second so I can show you. Just hang on a second. I got too much shit on the desk here. So this one here, I'm going to be a good boy. So I'm going to detach the flip over tool rest here somehow. I know I'm going to get in trouble here doing this. I'll be up till midnight putting it all back together. So I pull that off, right? And then this, let me see if I can do this. I got to take this off too. Hang on. I got too much shit on the desk here.
that's why I put stuff away.
Yeah,
While
I know.
you're doing that, does your cross slide, does it take 4mm square gravers?
It takes any size. Depends on the thing I put on it.
So you can put in, because I know like you go search for like cross slide gravers online and they're all 1/4 inch. There's some standard size. They don't fit mine for some reason. I have to really get this like 4mm by 4mm square, and then I have to use a diamond hone to really get it the shape I want. I can't just buy like a what do they call it, a whole. Sorry, Sonny, go ahead.
No. I wasn't trying to interrupt you. You find those smaller ones when you buy vintage lots. I've got several of them. And it's something that I used to use a lot, and now everything is like for the blind lane. That's not
These all work in my cross slide, but I can't get replacement sizes of these. They're really hard to find. At least in carbide, that's what I like to use.
Have you sharpened them forever? Can you just keep sharpening them?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, that's fine.
As long as you still have a nub to sharpen, you can sharpen.
All right. So what do I got here?
But the thing is, I wanted more. I want more of them because I want to make different profile and different shapes. Because there's one that's not. I'm supposed to be able to use one for. Yeah, it's not important.
No, absolutely, I agree. It's what I've been doing is buying you can buy the carbide square stock. I buy it on eBay. You can get it in different diameters.
Yeah, that's what I have sticking in this guy right now.
Yeah.
I just kind of used a diamond wheel with a steady rest to put it in the size I wanted. But it took forever.
Yeah, that's what.
Hey guys, I should receive my lathe tomorrow, and one of the things I want to try to do is make a screw, but I don't know where to get the stock for that.
Go to Esslinger. So Esslinger will sell you. So get two things from Esslinger. One, get the blued steel rod.
Yeah.
That's really good. I don't recommend making screws out of the blued steel rod because depending on what kind of screw cutter you have, it might be kind of soft, and it will have a tough time cutting the blued steel. But Esslinger will also sell just the regular white steel rod, and that's got a good carbon content, so you can toughen it up after the fact. You see me do that in some of the videos where I'll glue it after the fact. So it'll cut real nice with a hand graver, nice and smooth. You can smoothly get all the threads on it, and once you're happy with it, then you toughen it up, and it's good to go.
Okay, cool. So Esslinger. I got a Martin and Phil's screw plate from Dave's in the U.S.
Yeah, that'll eat anything. So that's good stuff. So you can get screw plates from Essinger too. Don't do that. I have one of those. It's super soft steel. But the Martin and Phil's, that's high quality stuff. So
And
you should be good with there.
I did a little bit of reading, and it said that the B thread type is a little bit better for modern. Oh, look, you got a baby on set.
Yeah, that's James, my 1-year-old. Well, William's already gone to bed, but James won't go to bed.
He seems to have a lot of lubricant that you could use, eh?
Baby.
So this, I'll put this away in a second, but this is a cross slide all fit in right now. And as you saw, I was sort of doing it while you're talking, but you saw I tightened it right here. So I looked down here so I could make sure it was a 0. I would do a better job, right, normally, and I apologize, the video's inverted. So anyway, 0 here, right, depending on what I want to do, right? So if I want to taper something, I might not make it 0, but it's going to dig into the material. And then I'll use this knobby here, right, for fine tuning. So I'll get closer with this here, with this here, and then when I get closer here, I can really get fine tune that, right? So and that's what I've used in the past for making different things, right? So it just depends on what I have to make. So it's pretty handy. I don't use it a lot because like I said, when I do bounce staffs or other things, I do a lot by hand, right? So
yeah. So Dayton, another tip too is since you're using the Martin and Phil's thread plate, you'll probably wonder, so what size you want to turn the shank to before you thread it. The rule of thumb that I've used is if it slides into the hole or two, larger, then you're good to go for that. The size you're actually targeting. There's no standard
thread there.
Yeah, like what they consider like a 1, 2, 3, 7, 9. There's no standard to that size. It doesn't correlate to any size, right? So you could probably through trial and error make your own table, but I think every thread plate is going to be a little bit different.
Wait, just explain that again. So you find the rod, or you take it down to the point where it fits into 1 or 2 sizes larger.
Yeah.
And the way you figure out what thread you want, that's how you know how much to take the steel down. The way you figure out the thread is hopefully you have a second screw and you can test it in the plate, right?
Yes, but be careful though, because the Americans use the different thread pitch than the Swiss plates. So if you work on a Swiss watches, you might get lucky and be able to find an exact match on your thread plate. Yeah. But for the American watches, I've had to just drill out and retap the hole corresponding to the thread I'm using on the screw plate.
Okay. And you gotta basically rethread it.
Okay.
Another screw in a parts watch. I've not been able to match unless you're dealing with like a Swiss, then it's not a problem. But with the American, I don't know how that's supposed to work, but I'm doing the same. Tap to change the hole.
Okay.
Yeah. And cutting oil is absolutely must.
Yeah.
When you're cutting the threads,
yeah.
tapping the hole, always make sure you put cutting oil on there and be liberal. It's not going to hurt anything. It helps a lot because you don't want to snap it.
Oh, you do not want to snap it in the hole.
Yeah.
You're in for a long evening if you do that.
That's late. I've not done it yet, thank goodness, and knock on wood.
Yeah.
But you snap a tab off in there, and you're in a world of hurt.
Yeah. I actually the Martin Phil's plate that I got, it has 4 filled holes. It's a 48B, so it has a lot of holes. I think it's 2 of each.
Well, you can fix those if you take one of the little carbide bits and you drill into that.
Yeah.
You can usually get those. I've had good luck. Like my screw plate, it had broke off in it, and I was able to drill it out and then use a tap and tap it out.
Yeah, you can pick out the remains after that. Yeah, definitely. So, I recommend you'll have a lathe since you're turning the shank down to size.
Yeah.
The more recent videos I've done, you see me like hold the screw plate perpendicular with the tailstock, because you don't want it on an angle, right? Because then everything gets all weird. I always look at the collet, and I focus on one of the slits in the collet, and I want to see 2 of them go by, and then I back it up by 1 to clear it, and then I go 2 more, and I back it by 1. I just kind of increment like that, because you don't want it to get all loaded up. Because it gets all loaded up, it'll start binding, and if it binds, you're going to break it.
Okay, that's good advice too.
Slow and easy wins the race.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, there's no rush to it.
Watchmaking, you can't be in a hurry.
Yeah.
And if you're hand graving, which I recommend hand graving. I hardly use the cross slide. I just recommend hand graving. It's a good skill to have. But what you'll find is that you might have some high spots, right? So you might be threading just fine. It might be a little easier in some spots, but then you might run into a spot where it's like, well, hey, maybe I wasn't completely true across the length. Just be careful, right? If you feel like you're gonna break 1 or 2, right? But you're gonna feel what that breaking point's going to be. You want your headstock nice and tight, because what you'll find is the screw plate will grip the stock enough that it'll actually start turning the work inside of your collet. So you just got to watch out for that. You really want to tighten it down nice and tight.
So
good to know. One thing that I think as a beginner I had no idea, like I was telling Mike about this before, as a person who's never worked with metal at a micro level, we think of metal as being like so strong. But when you get down into the microscopic level, it starts feeling like it's very malleable. So not to say that you don't have to be careful and that it's not, you absolutely have to be careful because it's so malleable. But like, it always amazed me, like getting inside a watch movement and being like, this is like working with clay or something and not metal. Like,
that's amazed me too, how hard
something or bend something.
Yeah, the hardest thing that you'll encounter. So for me, once I start getting below 0.15 of a millimeter, this is when I have to really be mindful of where the tool rest is relative to the work. So if it's too far away, then what'll happen is the graver will actually catch and get sucked underneath the work, and then you've bent the thing up, and that's ruined. So there's an excellent book out there by I'll actually I'll post the link in the comments of this video that you can get it on Amazon. It's kind of Watchmakers, Lathe, and how to use it.
Yeah.
It's basically an encyclopedia. It'll teach you all those tips of like, here's where you how you kind of angle, how you hold it in hand graver, where it fits on the tool rest.
I could see having it at the wrong distance for me for a year before I figured that out.
No. You'll get it.
It's by Archie Perkins. Archie Perkins, he was phenomenal. And you just read that book, use that as a reference. There's some chapters you just want to read, and there's others that you probably just use for reference later on.
Yeah.
And I made a video a while back of all the books you can get for watchmaking.
Yeah, I think that really impressed me. Like, I think you left some comments on my channel saying get a book, and I was resistant at first, but I realized like if you're trying to self-learn this, you've got to have some input. You're not going to figure it out by yourself.
And it's nice to have something in print open in front of you. Run into YouTube back and forth. But actually, Chris, I saw that book you recommended. I think when you built your fold-down desk for your
the Murphy desk.
Is that the book?
That's it. Yeah.
I went right to Amazon, and you did such a good job promoting it. It's gone, man. It's sold out.
It's a brilliant book.
Yeah, I definitely
I use it.
Pick that up. It looked great.
So this really quickly, this little setup I have is for hole drilling. So this little dog I have here, if you can get one of these, get it. Okay, it's got all different hole sizes here, and so what you do is you chuck up. You go over here, right, and you chuck up your wheel or whatever you're going to drill the hole in the shaft with. So you chuck it up on this side, right? So it's dead center. And then this here, I'm going to pull this. Well, I'll show you this. If you can see that, right? This here is aligned up with the size of the hole I want to make, right? So if I've got a shaft that's a bit bigger, I'll use a bit bigger of a hole. I can't do this. I've got one hand to use here, but you loosen that, you rotate this, right? And then you tighten it back up again. So then once you've got that lined, you've got the shaft aligned with the plate here, and the plate then takes the pressure off the shaft. So if you had a shaft by itself without this dog here, then it would tend to rattle, right? But your shaft fits cozy into the dog, and now you have a shaft that's ready to receive the drill bit. And the drill bits are the ones I showed you a few seconds ago. And so I had to adapt this thing. So this rod here, let me just pull that out. That's,
help me understand, JD. So are you sticking the work through the hole, or are you just resting it in the taper of one of the holes?
No, the staff goes in the collet on the
on this side.
Yeah, and then
but
up with where the pivot is, and that supports the other end of the staff.
Yeah.
Man, I've done those for the first since I read about them.
And then I snug.
So it's the staff that's spinning.
Yeah.
And the moving part is actually rotating in
Yes.
that hole.
Yeah.
That hole is keeping it.
That's
from
it there.
flaring
Good stuff.
up.
Man's got everything
So
I
these
got.
So these all have a taper. They have a taper in it, right?
Yeah.
So they're all countersunk.
Yeah.
So you're not sticking the work through the hole. You're
No.
sticking it and resting
Correct.
it on the taper.
It's
right?
resting on the taper, so it's absolutely centered. And then with this beast here, like with this lathe here, I said, okay, I'm going to
The
use.
super small ones.
This is that's nice. That comes with your set. This is a Lambert lathe, so I don't even know where the hell the Lambert lathes came from, but it's a one big ass metal lathe, right? So
Looks like a beast.
it's a beast, and it's got these little ball bearings for putting oil in, and they're sprung, right? It's really good, right? And it works exceptionally well. This, you just loosen this up, right? And you've got your inside, you can move this in and out. Now what I had to do is this dog here is probably made for a 6mm lathe or not an 8mm lathe, right? So, and if you look really closely in there, you can see that extra thing I have in there. See that thing just shoved itself up there? There's a lip, right? Let me see if I can point to it here. Oh, hang on a second. I dropped something. Let me get my tweezers. My desk is at a 3-degree angle, so everything rolls off it. So yeah, right in there.
Later on, we don't have to do it right now. Later on, I want to know what this doohickeys for.
Oh yeah.
I still can't figure out what it is.
You bought it though, didn't you?
No, it came with it. I didn't buy explicit.
So this is a sleeve. So I added a sleeve to it. So I did measurement of that, figured out what sleeve I'd need to buy, and then I bought a sleeve. So what I did was I bought a tube, bought a bunch of this stuff here, right? Tubing. And I cut the tubing to the right size, and I made sure that the inner diameter was exact, and I had no problem with the outer. So it absolutely fit, absolutely perfect. And then that allowed me to set this whole thing up, right? So I don't think I've failed once at drilling, because I know that with these bits here, when I prepare these bits, what I do is I shave them down. They come a lot longer. So I shave these bits. Let me see if I can, where's my camera? I shave these bits down so they're little snubs. And then the end of the bit, I don't leave it as a drill bit. I actually turn it into like a screwdriver on the end. It looks like a screwdriver with a hat. So I make it a hat screwdriver. Turn a screwdriver first, and I shave both ends to make it into a hat. So it cuts into the material. If you leave it as a drill bit, because it's so small, it'll snap.
It'll snap, yeah.
So
No, I got that idea from you, JD.
Oh, did you?
I go ahead and I take them, I preemptively break them in half.
yeah, and they're strong that way, and you get, once you get this thing set up, Chris, you can drill any hole with no fear. And I know that every time I drill a hole, I'm like, oh shit, should I go further? I don't know, a little further, and then snap. And I'm like, damn! And I've spent so much time digging bits out of parts.
The last thing you want is one of those carbide drill bits stuck inside a pinion at you.
Oh no, like it's happened. Okay, so everything that every fear you've had as a watchmaker has happened. Okay, so
Yeah, I want to point something out. I want to point something out to everybody, which is JD he's the guy who can do this, like narrate and have his camera on a subject for 10 minutes. And this is because of the way you make videos, JD. Like you can just whip out your camera and communicate about stuff, and I think that's really important.
He's cracking jokes. He's talking about the weather. He's talking about flight simulators and going on a boat.
I'm talking about stories at work.
I have to narrate my videos after the fact. I can't blabber. I can't talk. I need 100% of my brain cells focused.
I thought you had a production team in the next room.
No, I just shoot the shit.
Laying out a staff while explaining exactly what he's doing.
That's experience.
No, it's because I'm always telling my wife what I'm up to. That gives me the practice. so I gotta.
That's a talent right there to do that, G.
Let me see. And I got the curtains in the back, eh? So you guys seen me do the watch stuff, so I'll show you this anyway, right? Like the world's gonna see it, but what the hell, right? So
Are we seeing behind the curtain, JD?
yeah. So over here you got watchmaking tools and drawers and books and everything galore, right? Then you got some flight simulator yokes and stuff like that. If you need to fly, you take those off and you attach them away you go, right? Then I move over here. I've got drawers here for various stuff, right? So that I have. I got a staking set readily available up top here, and I just pull this thing up and grab what I need, right? So I leave it up there, and then under here is my this is my witchy or whatever you call it, 1900 timer, right?
Nice.
Watch timer, and then the nicest thing here, so this is how I use my microscope, right? So I'll roll this out. Now you see I was really smart and I cut some material off, so it wouldn't hit. So, and I'm not a mechanical engineer, so this here, and I got to get rid of I still have to figure out my digital jeweling scale here, so that's next. So this is my stereo microscope. So you can't do without these, man. You need one of these.
Microscope?
And that's I can't remember what it's called. It's a DS7 something. Hang on a second. It's backwards. Yeah, it's a Cardin DSZ70. So it's a DSZ70 Cardin, and it's got a big platform. And if you're doing watchmaking, you want a good sized platform, and it's got a ring light on it, right? And I can put another lens on if I want to get closer. But I'm telling you, when you're at times 70 with this thing, holy shit, it's crazy, right? And this
It must make it real easy to oil those pallet stones because
this comes out for a camera, right? So I have a camera I can put in there if I want to record. So this comes out for a camera. I got that on AliExpress too, and you can fine tune. You know, you can go in closer, go back. So it's a good setup, right? It's I got that quite a few years ago, and I don't know how I'd live without it. So
does that have the Barlow lens on it? And what's the working under there?
It is a Barlow lens. You're right.
Okay.
You know way too much, Sonny. I mean, Jesus.
I've been get one, and I've been doing all the. See, before I get things, I research it, and I look into it, and I figure out what I need to be getting, and then I.
I got into measuring too, right? So I bought.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, I bought. Let's see if I can open this without breaking it. Yeah, I bought a measuring lens, right? So this is for measuring, so you can effectively know how long things are, right? Because there was a point where I had to do some micro measurement, and I said, how the hell do I do that? So I did my research on this, and this will set you up, right, for micro measurement.
Set up on the table.
Yeah, you place this down and then you zero in on it, and it sets it up. I'm trying not to break anything because I'm using one hand, which is really dangerous. And then once you've done that, you've got this. And this has got all of the gradients in it, right? So let me see if I can open that up without ruining it. I'm going to have to put a lot of stuff back later on.
Oh, I appreciate you digging it out, huh?
All right, so there it is there. And each one of these, if I can see that at all, the one in the center there that you see with the X in it.
Oh man, our call is ending in 15 minutes.
Yeah, I know. The one with the X in it in the middle is the one that gets you the measurement, right? So you put that down, you know it's exactly so many millimeters, and then when you put your part down, you can see how many millimeters it is. And I have a lens, one of these guys, that's got a radial in it, right? So it looks down at that. And so this knows with the radial, I can actually see a ruler, right? So I use the ruler on this side, and I basically do the calibration with this thing here. So, and that's if you're going to use your
Get that, or
what's that?
What's Googleable about that if somebody wanted to find that same thing?
Oh shit. I I think it was about a month worth of research before I was able to figure out what to do, right?
So a lot of the microscopes that, like you can get on Amazon for part inspections, right? They're not the stereo microscopes. They're the like this thing.
Yeah.
You plug in a laptop, you download a piece of software, and you can calibrate it, and then you can use it for measurement using the software on your laptop, right? It's not built into the screen of the microscope itself, which is super handy. So like if you have a watch plate that's got a shattered jewel, you have no point of reference on how to possibly measure it. Instead of just kind of guessing it, you can whip it up into plug it into the laptop, and you'll get a pretty reasonable estimate on what the size of that hole would be, and it's usually aligns with a standard size sights friction jewel.
But don't you have to have whatever those glass slides are to calibrate it?
You do have to calibrate it, yeah. So once you're calibrated, then you're good to go.
You could calibrate it off anything that I guess.
Yeah, you can actually.
Exactly.
Yeah, you can. Yeah, and you got to get, like, if you have a set of calipers. Like I have a local store here I go to, then they got all these calipers, and let me put my camera back up here somehow. Sorry about this. I apologize. I got some guitars in the background there too, see? First guitar, 1969, 68, I got that. Made in Japan.
my Martins are on here somewhere.
Do you have a Martin guitar?
Yeah, it was my dad's.
Oh my God, all these musicians. So I guess, what was I going to say here? So I use that for really precise measuring, but yeah, I was going to say I've got I'm not sure where the hell it is, but I've got a caliper, and I use that for measuring parts. There's an inside and an outside, right? So you just go like this until it's exactly where you want it, and you take the other part and then you just score it, right? It's like when I cut a balance staff, I'll use that to score the first mark of where I want that balance staff to start. And if you've seen my balance staff videos, I usually use Rodico to hold the old staff.
I got this today for 30 Swiss francs, which is about $33.
Oh, look at that.
Nice.
Very cool.
You know what that is?
That's for
That's the micrometer for measuring pivots and.
It's specifically for escapements or setting the jewel.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say. That's what I was gonna
So
say.
you have to heat it up to like 100 degrees centigrade so that your shellac stays soft while you set the jewel in the pallet fork.
I just realized I can zoom in on you. I didn't realize I could do that. That's really cool. And now you heat that whole gosh darn thing?
Yeah.
No.
We looked at this. Mike looked it up, and from Bergeon, it costs $1,500 for the device and $500 for the heater.
Yeah, I know they're super expensive.
I mean,
How much did you pay for that again?
About $30.
Yeah, I hate you.
well, you can get a good deal on something. That's great.
No, that's
what I mean too. Like, if it's really cheap, it doesn't matter what it is. Just buy it. You know.
Dean, what were they asking for those topping tools?
1,100 Swiss francs, which is about $12.50 US.
Yeah.
And they have. For the
thing,
the big round topping tool.
I don't know about that.
Yeah, I've been looking for one of those too. And there's guys that buy them for museum pieces.
The 6mm lathe complete was 1,100 francs.
Yeah.
And what do those big topping tools do?
You can use them to reshape and kind of refinish the teeth of a gear.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, the teeth have got specific diameters and everything, right? They conform to whatever that gear is supposed to be, right? I got a software program, I think it's called Gearology, and I use that to figure out gear meshing and everything else, and you can design your gears and everything else. So what I don't have is the right machining to make a gear. I think that's the next thing. I got to get that.
With a watchmaker in Oregon, Dave Moss. So he was actually, I connected with him after Randy gave those winding keys, and so I was asking him about it, and he actually recommended. So rather than trying to get into wheel cutting, which is a whole endeavor, and you can drop $10,000 worth of tools and still not have exactly what you need in every circumstance, he recommends, and you can use the topping tool all on its own. If you find a wheel that's close enough and it's maybe a little bit oversized, you chuck it in your lathe, you kind of turn it down to the right size, and then you use a topping tool to just kind of reprofile your teeth.
You mean if the thing already has teeth to reprofile,
yeah,
or
like
to cut teeth?
At least that's what I've never tried it personally, but that's what he was saying. Like, it's still a useful tool to have, even if you're not cutting the wheel yourself. You could take the existing wheel. There's a way to kind of maybe turn it down to size and then top the teeth off. Who knows? Yeah,
that's the next thing I think. That's another big giant book.
It never ends with what? It's just no matter what you got, you need the next thing.
Yeah, I thought drilling holes was going to be easy, right?
It's,
easy.
What is easy? I'm still figure out what the easy part is.
Hey, Sonny, I always laugh at the clock guys, the clock makers, because I'm on this Tuesday lunchtime chat with a bunch of guys, and they're all clock makers fundamentally, right? And they talk about, repivoting this shaft, and I'm looking at the size of their shafts and all the stuff they're working on. And so I have a clock in the living room. It's a mantle clock. And so my wife got it for free, right? So I said, I'm not taking this damn thing apart. And it didn't look like the holes were oval. It looked like they were still good. The holes were good still for all the gears and stuff. So I took the damn thing. My buddy gave me a big container of naphtha, right? So I filled up a tub with the naphtha.
You just dunked the whole thing?
I took the face off the clock so it wouldn't ruin it. Nice. And I threw the whole friggin' thing in the naphtha, right? Then I left it overnight. Then the next day I took it out. I turned it around the other way, just so anything was in there fall out. Left it overnight, took it out again, sat it on my porch. It let it dry completely, right? And then I oiled all the pivots and everything, and then I reset the what's it called? The tick-tock part. You have to bend it, right? So the tick and the tock are the same. And then I reported to the boys what I did for my clock making, right? And they strip them down to nothing, right? And I said, just throw it in the naphtha and let it rip, right? And then pull the cord and away it went.
Kick you out of the club.
The thing works brilliantly. I working right now. It's an 8-day mantle clock. It ticks away. It's beautiful.
That's what it did to Timexes. I mean, sometimes wonders, like, okay, it gets in the mainspring barrel. Like, how do you drain that, right? So, but I guess it works.
Well,
I bought an Elma watch cleaning machine from the 1950s that has 4 tanks inside of it, and I researched it, and it's 1 for cleaning, 2 for rinsing, and 1 for oiling it. And then they made these racks where you put like 12 movements. It worked with manual movements, was what the manual said. Don't use automatic because of the braking grease in the barrel. But with manual movements, you take the dial off it, put 12 movements on that, stick it in the cleaning machine, and just wash and re-oil the whole thing without disassembling it.
What about the hairspring? Like, how does that even work?
It's a terrible idea, I think. But
I don't see how you're going to get a watch that runs right out of that. I mean,
I'm sure it'll run.
Well, I always wondered if that was possible, and then I was just surprised that they actually made these systems. And Elma is like the company that still exists that makes the $20,000 machines. So it's a serious thing, and they still make the oiling fluid for it, and it's super expensive. It's like $150 for a liter of the oil.
Yeah, there's two guys left in their basement, right? The 2 last Elma guys.
I showed it actually to this guy at Elma at the trade show where Elma was there, and he couldn't believe it. He was grabbing my phone, he was showing it to the other guys. He's like, look, this guy's got this 1950s Elma, and it's still working.
So this guy's name is Elma too? It's
Joe Elma.
Yeah, Frank Elma, Joe's brother. No, that's wild. Like I've taken a dollar watch, and I did a video on it actually, and I threw it into lighter fluid or something, and it ticked inside of the lighter fluid. It was still running.
I remember that. Was that an Ingersoll? You did that on the front porch in the middle of the winter.
You're right. You're right. It was winter time. It was freezing out. I went outside so my wife wouldn't be pissed off at me. And I made a video and I put it in there, and it was ticking while it was in there. I said, "This is fantastic." It was a dollar watch or something, right? You couldn't. It's so difficult to take those things apart, right? So
they're not made to be served.
They're not meant to be.
Yeah, they're meant to be serviced with a sledgehammer.
They literally made it difficult to even fix it. They didn't mean for it. I don't think they meant for anyone to fix those things.
That's the
They're not
service.
even meant for
That's
to
the
run
tool
very
right
long.
there. This is a nice hammer, by the way.
I don't know what to do with them.
It's the world's most beautiful hammer. Oh, shut up. He's my brother from another mother.
I just, by the way, so hairspring work.
Oh, look, Sonny's got one too.
Yes, baby.
We all got our hammers. All right,
Yeah.
I think it's hammer time. Oh, look at that.
Nice, Mike.
Dayton, where the hell's your hammer?
I
I'm
have
home. It's 3 in the morning
strike.
for me.
This is the first
Oh, yeah, that's true.
hammer. I'm looking for my next project to use it.
Yeah, I got a collection of tweezers too that I keep picking up. Tons of them, of all different types. I think the nicest tweezer you can get are the ones that are for hairsprings they're kind of like this, right? They're a U shaped on both sides, so they're double U, right? So you can actually just squeeze down and it bends the hairspring.
Oh, I know what you're talking about.
Yeah.
I don't have one of those.
Radius.
Yeah.
They're radius.
Yeah,
Those are
you
nice.
need those because you can very carefully just bend just a bit, and the hairspring will bend just a bit, right? Otherwise, you're holding the hairspring with your tweezers and then milking it with the other tweezer to bend it, right?
Yeah, there's a guy that has I think it's the same one or a derivative of that, but he's made his own Breguet hairsprings using a block of wood and the tweezers, and he's like, watch this, and he like jams it into the wood, and I think he's from China. It comes out and it's like the perfect Breguet.
We got like 10 seconds, Chris. Sorry. So everybody, thank you very much. We'll do this again next week if you're up for it again.
Thanks, JD.
Yeah, learned a lot.
We'll do it again and we'll pick a topic and we'll nail it, okay? So I think we can talk until it cuts us off.
Thank you.
No, thanks a lot, guys, and on someday we'll just all those guitars in the back. Mike, you got to tell me about them, okay? Because I'm a guitar player too.
Thank
You got it. Love to talk.
Here.
All right, guys. Be well.
All right, take
Good
care.
night.
Peace out, all.
Yeah, take care. Thanks for joining us, Sonny.
No, thank you for having
Don't
me.
get that beard caught in your lathe. Oh my God. That would be
I haven't had a problem with that yet.
well.
Your eyeballs, your eyes up there.
Just give me your address there, and I'll fix that. Okay.
He's got steel shards in there.
Yeah, there's all. I tell you,
I get brass tips in it.
I'll bet you can live for a week after you stopped eating, right?
I've been playing with the idea of waxing it and twirling it. It may happen.
Oh yeah, you got to do the Sergeant Major thing, right?
I've got enough to do that.
Fingers of steel, lad. All right, thanks a lot, guys. I'll see you next Sunday. We're good?
See you next Sunday.
We'll try to find one more person so we'll have the whole square of the 6th thing filled in, right? Thanks for joining us, Sonny. Thanks, Dayton. And Mike, go for 8 millimeters. Don't
Thanks,
be tempted. All right, bye.
Funding.